All right, have and have not fans, you know that drill. Hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon as we go into part 3 of the Mini David series as to whether or not he survived the car explosion. Now, I think he did. I feel like he did. I already talked about it in part 1. Then in part 2, I talked about, part 2 and 3 are more about the aftermath of the explosion. You know, aside from him being alive, did it affect him in any way? Did it have any kind of like scarring on his body? Will it put him in some kind of coma? Will he have amnesia? And now we get to part 3, which will be, I'm pretty sure, the most popular out of the 3 just based off the topics itself. But will Tyler Perry kind of implement Diary of the Mad Black Woman scenarios when it comes to David and Veronica? Like, based off the explosion, will David be in a condition where he's paralyzed or in a wheelchair and Veronica has to take care of him, which is kind of a throwback to the actual movie where I believe Helen was married to Charles but got kicked out or thrown out of the house for a young mistress named Brenda, who was the mother of Charles's two, what was it, 1 or 2 kids. And people thought about that, like I even talked about it at the beginning, what was it, May 1st, Veronica's house, when Veronica went over to the house talking about, that's my dream house, this is my house, and stuff like that. That was like a kind of a throw to Acrimony, which was actually a movie Tyler Perry made where they had a brief battle about a house in that movie as well. But the thing is, you know, let's say if David is confined to the house, kind of like Erica was in a way, and he's in a wheelchair, he needs help getting around, Veronica takes care of him, but she ends up torturing him instead. And I mean, that would be worse than death for David, if you ask me. And Veronica will finally be in her dream house with her man, getting rid. I mean, technically, even though she didn't do it herself, her actions got rid of both Maggie and Erica. So any woman that shows any remote interest in David is pretty much automatically dead. It just hasn't happened yet, but they pretty much signed their death warrant by being with David. Now, I actually do like this theory, to be honest, but I just feel like it will just be the haves and the have-nots just dials the crazy up to like 15 when it comes to certain characters. But David is a good man, because I remember when Veronica's House first aired, me and my mom were talking about it like the next day over the phone, and she was like, yeah, Veronica's right, you know, that's her house. And I told her, like, don't you remember episode 1 at the beginning of 2018? Erica was told by David that he actually bought the house after Veronica burnt the first one down for them, but they never got back together, because remember, Veronica was still on the whole Maggie Day thing, even though they never slept together at that point in time. So David actually bought the house but never got a chance to show it to her. He was actually going to put it back on the market unless Erica decided to stay with him. So she did, hence why the house is still there. And even after pimp slapping Veronica, he actually yelled at her, telling her that I bought that house for us, but you pretty much kicked me to the curb for Benny Young. So David, see, that's the thing, people don't remember how blind he was to Veronica's flaws because of how stupid he was for hooking up with Erica so fast despite not knowing much about her to begin with. It's kind of like the fact that he actually ignored all the signs. Like, I remember, like, after the whole fire situation when Jim and Catherine ran over, because remember, those two don't live far away from David and Veronica. They ran to see if their friends were okay, and David was literally almost in tears around Jim. Was like, she tried to kill me. But yet when Maggie Day confronted him at the Crier house after Amanda's funeral, she's like, oh, it was just a cry for attention. And I'm just like, wait, what? And even Jeffrey called David out on this bull crap. So David has endured a lot from Veronica, yet when he bought the house, it was for her. It's easy for people to forget that. So David's heart was in the right place despite being rather foolish. And Jennifer said it, he's loyal to a fault until he's finally pushed. And, you know, well, I can understand why she would be upset, because it's like, the house that you said was too expensive for us, you bought it for a whore that you don't even know. Despite being crazy, despicable, and a psychopath, she actually has a great point. But at the same time, it goes back to the fact that you literally allowed your own paranoia to destroy your own life. Not only that, the whole Jeffrey being gay thing, but that's another video for another time. But yeah, it will be interesting, because I would not want to see David be tortured, because he's been through enough. Like, you know, the whole slap thing and everything, and then losing the woman that he loved in a blaze, and then to have the woman responsible in that house. Ugh, that would be awful. I feel like David would rather die than experience that. But again, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Helen and Charles, that, yeah, that actually doesn't sound like a bad story element at all. I mean, to be honest, that would be a big throwback to the movie that made Tyler Perry stick on the map. Like, he had his plays, but Diary of a Mad Black Woman was the movie that really opened the doors for him. So to actually implement that movie into his hit show on OWN, I wouldn't be against it. But like I said before, it really depends on the execution of it, because in the movie, you know, Charles deserved everything that came to him because how he treated Helen. But if anything, David went far and beyond the call of duty as a husband when it came to Veronica, and now it's just like bad things just keep happening to him when Veronica is the one that's the cause of it. So in a way I want it to happen, but then in a way I don't. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think that David's going to be crippled in one way or another after the explosion? Do you think he's going to be okay? I really want to get your thoughts on this, because to be honest, like I said before, I really think this might be the most popular or most viewed video of the 3-part series about David. And thanks for rocking with me on the channel. It really is fun doing these mini series along the way. So subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll talk to you all soon.